The market is a place where a man's fortune is not made by how often he is right, but by how much he has left after he is wrong. That is why the first and greatest rule in speculation, the rule that sits above all others, is the rule of position sizing. You may search for 1,000 rules about entries, exits, charts, tips, and timing, but you will always come back to this one. A man can be right about the direction of a stock and still lose everything if he has sized his position wrong. He can be wrong about the direction, but if his size is disciplined, he will live to fight another day. And the only fight that matters in this business is survival. If you cannot survive, you cannot profit. And if you cannot profit, then you have no business speculating. I have seen more men ruin not by being wrong, but by being wrong with too much. They wanted to get rich on the first swing. They believed the market owed them something for their cleverness, for their information, for their confidence. But the market owes you nothing. It does not care if you are smart, bold, or certain. It does not care about your debts or your dreams. It only cares about your capital, and it will strip it from you the moment you place it in harm's way without protection. Position sizing is protection. It is not glamorous. It does not make the headlines. Nobody boasts in the bucket shops about how small they bet or how cautious they were. But those who last, those who accumulate, those who become rich, they all whisper the same thing: size is survival, and survival is profit. You may hear a man say, "I knew that stock would go up, but I was shaken out by margin calls." What he really means is, "I was too big for my capital." Another will say, "I was right, but I couldn't hold." That is the voice of a man who put too much on the line. Being right is useless if your size does not allow you to sit still. The market demands patience. But patience is only possible if your position is sized so that the daily jiggles, the sudden drops, the unexpected moves, do not force you out. You cannot be patient if your heart is in your throat every tick. You cannot let your profits run if every downtick feels like ruin. You cannot cut your losses if the size is so large that you refuse to admit the mistake. The whole game comes back to size. Now many beginners think size is about greed. They think, if I double my size, I will double my profits. But what they do not see is that they also double their danger. They double the weight on their nerves. They double the chance that a small mistake will become a fatal one. Speculation is not arithmetic, it is psychology. You may hold 100 shares comfortably, but 1,000 shares may break your back, even if the stock moves the same way. Your brain will not work the same when you are too large. You will not see the market. You will only see your money bleeding. You will not follow your rules. You will follow your fear. A man who is oversized is already beaten, because he will act not as a speculator, but as a gambler. The gambler bets because he must. The speculator bets because the odds are right. The only way to stay a speculator is to size yourself so that you are never forced, never desperate, never over your head. I have always said, it is not the market that beats the man, it is the man that beats himself. And the weapon he uses most often is his own greed expressed through size. How many fortunes have been lost because a man wanted to make a killing instead of a living? How many houses gone? How many wives left? How many men ended up on the street? Not because they lacked brains, but because they lacked the discipline to size their trades. It is not knowledge that saves you. It is not courage. It is not tips. It is size. A small position can be corrected. A small loss can be endured. A small mistake can be forgiven. But when the size is too large, no forgiveness is possible. The market does not forgive and it does not forget. The trouble is, most men cannot stand to think small. They dream of millions, but they do not dream of the slow climb. They want the fortune in a season, not in a lifetime. And so they take a large position, because they believe that if they are right, they will win so much that they will never need to work again. But here is the trap. When you take a position that is too large, you are already wrong, no matter what the stock does. Even if it moves in your favor, you will not be able to manage it with calm. You will take profits too soon because you are afraid of losing. You will not pyramid correctly because you already have too much. You will not be able to act like a general commanding his troops. You will be like a prisoner dragged by them. And sooner or later, that will be the end of you. I learned this lesson the hard way, as all true lessons in the market are learned. I had been right on direction, right on timing, right on the story, and yet I went broke. How? Because I was too big. When the market turned against me for just a short spell, I was forced to liquidate. I did not go broke because I was wrong. I went broke because my size did not allow me to be right. That is the cruel trick the market plays. It is not enough to be correct. You must be correct with the proper size. If your position does not match your capital, your nerve, your plan, then your correctness is worthless. There is a simple way to look at it. Your position should always be small enough that you can sleep at night. If you cannot sleep, your size is too large. If you are staring at the tape all day, unable to look away, your size is too large. If you cannot leave the market alone for fear of what might happen, your size is too large. A man who is properly sized can walk away. He can let the market do its work. He can wait, and waiting is the hardest, but most profitable part of this game. Another mistake men make is pyramiding too fast. They put on a position, it works, and they rush to double and triple it. They think they are building a fortune, but they are building a trap. Pyramiding is only wise when the market pays you to do it. You must let the profits finance the new position, never your original capital. If you add with your winnings, your size grows safely. If you add with your stake, you are gambling, not speculating. It takes iron discipline to add only when the market gives you permission. But that is the only way to pyramid without ruin. Do not think that position sizing is only for the poor or the cautious. Even the richest speculators, even the boldest traders, they all live and die by their size. The great operators were not reckless. They were daring, yes, but their daring was calculated. Their size always controlled. They could take the large lines because they had the large capital. They did not confuse courage with recklessness. They could scale in and scale out because they had mastered the art of putting on size in proportion to their account and their conviction. That is why they lasted. That is why their names are remembered. The bucket shop boys who went for broke, their names are dust. Do not be fooled by the talk of quick killings. A killing can be made, yes, but not by the man who tries to make one on every trade. The man who makes a killing is the man who has survived long enough to be present when the big move comes. And survival, again, is only possible through proper sizing. Every big move that ever made a fortune was first endured by small moves that tested patience. And the man who held through those tests did so because his size allowed him to hold. If he had been too large, he would have been shaken out. The market always shakes. The only question is whether you are strong enough to take it. And strength does not come from muscles or courage. It comes from being small enough to last. There is another danger in size, and that is the temptation to average down. A man who starts small can cut his loss and move on. But a man who starts too large is tempted to throw good money after bad. He cannot admit he is wrong, because admitting it would mean too large a loss. So he buys more. He says he is lowering his average, but he is really raising his risk. And the market, which punishes pride more than anything else, will usually finish him off. A small loss is a bruise. A large one is a bullet. If you keep adding to a losing position because you started too large, you are digging your own grave. Speculation is not about being bold in size. It is about being bold in patience. It is not about betting all, but about waiting for all. The position size is the foundation of your house. If it is weak, the storm will take it. If it is strong, you can build on it. Without it, nothing else matters. I do not care how good your system is, how sharp your analysis, how perfect your timing. If your size is wrong, you are finished. And if your size is right, you can survive even your mistakes. That is the irony of this business. The smaller you bet, the bigger your chances of getting rich. The larger you bet, the quicker your chances of going broke. The beginner thinks the opposite. He thinks the bigger he bets, the sooner he will be rich. But speculation is a profession, not a lottery. A profession requires you to last. It requires you to accumulate slowly. It requires you to respect your capital more than you respect your opinion. And respecting your capital begins and ends with the size of your position. I repeat, because repetition is the mother of truth, size is everything. Not tips, not timing, not inside dope, not opinions. Size. If you remember nothing else, remember that. Make your positions so small that you can take them, cut them, carry them, add to them, all without strain. Make them so small that you can follow your rules without fear. Make them so small that the market cannot shake you out with its tricks. Make them so small that you can stay in the game long enough to see the real move. The move that makes your fortune. You can only get rich in the market if you first refuse to go broke. That is the law, and it is enforced without mercy. The market is patient. It will wait until you have forgotten this rule. Then it will strike. But if you never forget it, if you always respect your size, then you can stand before the market without fear. And the man who does not fear is the man who profits. The ability to hold your nerve depends not on courage, but on the comfort of your size. Men think nerves are a gift, like strength in the arms or steel in the backbone. But nerves in speculation are not about nature, they are about position. You may be the calmest man in your daily life, unshaken by insult, steady under fire. But if you put too much of your capital into a trade, the market will make a coward of you. It will turn the calmest gentleman into a trembling wreck. It is not the ticker tape that drives men mad, it is their own oversized wagers. When a man is too big for his account, every small move looks like disaster. Every little jiggle looks like catastrophe. Every whisper on the street sounds like a death sentence. He begins to watch every tick. He cannot eat. He cannot sleep. His heart pounds at each fluctuation. And when a man is in that state, he can no longer think. He can no longer plan. He can no longer follow his rules. He has lost his nerve, not because he was born weak, but because he sized his trade too large for his comfort. The market does not ask you to be brave. It asks you to be consistent. You do not need the courage of a soldier charging into battle. You need the discipline of a banker counting money. Discipline is only possible when your size allows you to keep your head. Too many men confuse courage with recklessness. They think taking the largest position they can muster is a sign of strength. They confuse boldness with wisdom. But what really happens is that their size destroys their judgment, and judgment is the only weapon a speculator has. I have seen men take enormous lines, boasting of their courage, only to cut them at the first dip. They did not cut because they were disciplined. They cut because they were terrified. Their size forced them into panic, and panic is never profitable. On the other hand, a man who sizes correctly can watch the same dip without alarm. He knows what his risk is, he knows what his capital is, and he knows the market cannot push him into ruin with a small setback. He can sit calmly, letting the market do its dance, because his position is comfortable. That is what comfort means in this business, the ability to sit. And sitting, more than anything else, is where the profits come from. Most fortunes were not made by quick in and out trading, but by sitting through the big move. The market may go up and down. It may test your patience. It may tempt you to act, but the real money comes to the man who can sit through all that without flinching. And you cannot sit if your size is choking you. Think of the gambler at the roulette wheel who bets half his stake on one spin. He is brave, but he is a fool. If the ball lands against him, he is finished. He is out of the game. What courage is there in that? It is suicide disguised as boldness. The wise gambler bets a size that lets him stay at the table, spin after spin, until the odds turn. He may lose a few rounds, but he is still in the game.